Yo, ¿qué pasa? What is going on, Panthers family? Okay, it's Inbound Panthers. I wanted to look at some Jonathan Mingo highlights since we got him in the second round. I was surprised we got him in the second round. He was getting a lot of hype leading up in like the last week of the draft, but I was a draft junkie well before the last week. So about a month and a half before, I was like seriously looking at all the mock drafts. I was looking at everything. Even before we made the trade to one, because I just wanted to get a lay of the land as a Panthers fan. And there were a lot of other receivers I liked. I liked Josh Downs. I liked Hyatt. Kind of liked Hyatt a little bit just for the pure speed of it. But when we got Mingo, I had seen a little bit of Mingo, but I wasn't impressed with his production in college necessarily. He had, I think, 161 yards to start off last year. And I remember seeing him when I was watching Matt Corral highlights from back in the day. He was pretty dominant with him, but he had this like kind of injury bug that hit him in the first 3 years of his career there at Ole Miss. So yeah, I just wanted to look at some highlights to see what's going on with Mingo. What kind of player is he? Should we be hyped? Is he better than Josh Downs, who went, I think, in the third round, even though I thought he was really good for UNC, but he's very undersized. A lot of the receivers were very undersized in this draft, and I think that's why Jonathan Mingo, being one of the few receivers who's like massive and can run a 4.4, I'm not surprised we took him that high, and I think to play off his potential and the anger he plays with wasn't too dumb of a move by Fitterer. And the fact that, hey, Steve Smith, Mr. 89 himself, right, signed off on him, I was like, okay, I'm behind him. If Steve Smith said he's going to be a good receiver, he's going to be a good receiver. So let's watch these highlights together, boys and gals. And here, Simply AS10, they are legendary. They're always pumping out these highlights, so go subscribe to them. I'll subscribe to them right now. Check them out.
This is the first time he goes first, and he loads it up on the first play from scrimmage. Jonathan Mingo just must
passing or not.
Okay, we like that.
Job in concentration, using
looks to throw again over the middle.
Let me actually move my situation here. Maybe we go up here, top left. Trying to figure out which way is best to not be in the way of the play here.
That's Jonathan Mingo. First down and 10. Dart lets it
Dart
loose over the middle. Mingo
Woo,
is there.
that was a nasty one-handed catch. Like that right there made me think, okay, this kid has potential. Long arms, walking in stride, just snags it. That's another great pass. And this Dart guy, a lot of people say, oh, he didn't have good production in college. He didn't really have the best QBs, and when he had Matt Corral, who was a pretty decent quarterback in college, he was injured. So he could have had a big year with Matt Corral if he hadn't gotten injured, but we'll go over some stats a little bit after. Oh, that was nasty. I like that. See, these are the types of contested catches I want to... Look at that. Hands in his face, still goes up. The dude pushes him, and he still makes the grab.
Here's Mingo, catch and spin. One man to beat, cuts it inside. That'll be it.
Yeah, that's just a hitch route.
I mean, you're just giving Mingo way too much room.
That's a nice little stutter step, and Ray doesn't come get the
I just love how big he is, how fast he is, and not just his size, like the bigness of him, like the length. He has very long arms.
Mingo's wide open on the crosser. First down and more for the Rebels. Dart to throw. Up the seam. Mingo is there.
I love that adjustment there to like get the ball.
Puts his foot in the ground, makes one.
Like you can tell some of these passes are just not, especially downfield. Dart was just not very good at throwing downfield, and Mingo had to make a lot of adjustments on the fly. That one was actually on stride. Granted, he was wide open. He had a huge game against Vanderbilt.
And they're trying to put the finishing touches on a win here over Vandy. As Jonathan Mingo breaks free.
I love seeing plays like this because I think Bryce Young is one of those quarterbacks that can get the ball to you real quick at the line of scrimmage. Like you can see, even those passes right there, he has to like slow up, and granted, he's
looking for the wheel route. Got a step. Got a catch.
Love it.
Jonathan Mingo inside the 10. Quick slant.
Man, he really just Did not let any heat off that ball.
Two receivers are going to go out quick.
I like that, though. I like that he can just set in motion, get a little red zone score. Look at him adjusting to the ball. The Dart was just not a very good QB, so for him to get 861 yards, I'm not too bothered by it because the QB play was just not optimal. But let's look at some stats here. Let me move this. Actually, I'll keep the webcam up there. Let's look at some stats here. All right, so we got him. These are the games I want to highlight here. Like Vanderbilt, 250 yards pretty much with 9 receptions. That was all those like short yardage or the line of scrimmage plays he made, where he just took it to the house every time. Those plays are the ones that excite me because if you have him, you have Laviska Shenault. That's a nasty combination. You have Miles Sanders. Those are a lot of players that can make plays happen just getting the ball quickly from the line of scrimmage. And Bryce Young is one of those QBs that can throw the ball so fast. Like there's some players that throw screens and you'll see them like some QBs and they take like 2 seconds to like throw the screen. Bryce Young's the type of guy, he gets the ball and he just sidearms it real quick and just throws you the screen real fast, 10 yards, like half a second. Which all those little milliseconds are precious to, you know, to allow the receiver to make a play, make a move, and make a guy miss, whatever it is, right? So the Vanderbilt game was huge. Granted, Vanderbilt is just not that good of a team, so you know it's kind of hard to predict or project that into the future. Also, the Central Arkansas game, he went over 100 yards against Georgia Tech. 74 yards. Let's look at Alabama. Even though Alabama didn't have the greatest defense this year, 60 yards against them, average 8.4 yards per reception there. Against Texas A&M, 89 yards, 22.3 yards per average. Okay, I mean, listen, again, like I don't want to go off too much about his statistics just because that Ole Miss offense just wasn't what it used to be with Matt Corral. And, you know, this is the Panthers. This is kind of what we're looking at, guys. This is our team right here. This is 2022. 7-10. If we can flip this to 10-7, I'm going to say we've had a good year. Had a really good year. And I think we win the division with that, maybe 11. No, I think 10-7 wins us the division there. We're 20th and 19th. Points scored versus points allowed. We were like dead last in passer rating and stuff last year. We're just the worst QB team, the worst passing team in terms of quarterback play last year. And I mean, just look at these grades from last year, guys. Like we were just not very good last year. We had no offense, so our defense was always in a bad spot. They were always we're always losing the field position game. It was just a tough run last year. And this is looking at our like receivers, right? I mean, and these are the offensive grades PFF gives out. I do have PFF Premium, guys, so I'm going to be sharing a lot of that premium statistics with you guys. That's a big part of it. I want to share all these premium stats I have unlocked here, which are really important. And you can kind of get a lay of the land generally of what the talent is like in our team. And I'm going to go over after this slide the roster depth. But Laviska had the highest offensive grading only because he had the least amount of snaps compared. I'm sure if he had more snaps than these guys, he might have had a different rating there. But he did make a lot of plays for us last year, those line of scrimmage plays. And so I'm not surprised. And his run blocking grade is actually pretty high. That's one great thing about this team. Him, Laviska, and an underrated part of our team, Laviska and Jonathan Mingo are both willing and strong. Very good run blockers. So if we have both of those guys on the field and we're running screens or we're running, like wide zone plays or we're just running the ball, period, we're going to have a lot of perimeter blockers for Miles Sanders, and those are the guys who absolutely dominate. And like the difference between a 30-yard gain and a 70-yard touchdown by the running back a lot of times comes down to that receiver receiving core blocking. And as good as the Eagles were with Sanders, they were not the best perimeter blocking team in terms of run blocking. Devonta Smith was not a very good run blocker. A.J. Brown was okay at run blocking. Like, I think we have an underrated aspect of our team is just going to be our how nasty we are at blocking for running backs. And you also see they put these like 68th of 113, 45th of 113. These are the rankings of the receivers we have based on their, I think this is a receiving grade. And the 113 is based off of like the certain amount of snaps. I forget how many snaps it is. I think it's 200 minimum snaps. So DJ Chark, he was like a 70 grade. And we got Marshall, Terrace Marshall. An interesting thing about Marshall, if we look at his statistics, let's see if we can go to his player profile. His yards per reception, 17.5 yards per reception. This was ranked second in the league last year. He was way above everybody. Like, he was just catching the ball deep a lot for us. So that's something hopeful that I'm really looking forward to seeing this year. I'm really looking forward to seeing the development of Terrace Marshall with all these other receivers. Hopefully we can set up like a screen game and a run game that's really good to open up the pass game downfield. And I think Bryce Young is the guy to get the ball laterally and horizontally all over the field, which is going to make us that 10-7 team we're really trying to beat. And then this is our roster, guys. This is our current roster at the moment. Now, some of these may be a little different, like Dalton, obviously starting at the moment. But next year, it's going to be Bryce Young, let's be honest. But look at his rating. Like, he has pretty good rating all the way going back to 2011. Like, granted, maybe 2015 and on is like when he really started to hit his stride. But last year, he played really efficiently. I mean, he's probably the best backup quarterback, or the top one, top two backup quarterback. So I'm really glad we got Andy Dalton. He's gonna be a good vet, and you can see all the like grades here. One of our lowest graded players are Christensen in the run game. He's pretty good in the pass, but actually, let's look. Let me make sure. Yeah, his pass block grade is a little higher than his run grade, and that's okay. Like, he's somewhat undersized and he has small hands, so he has a tough time grabbing onto people and just pile driving through them. And this offense grade is just, I think they just average both the grades here. So he's pretty good as far as a passing guard. I think he'll be able to step up his game next year. Then we got Ike Mekwonu. This was his rookie year, guys, and he's already, doing a really good job, in my opinion. I think these grades are actually a little bit inaccurate. Or not inaccurate, but they're skewed because he had a bad couple games to start the year. But then as time went on, he improved an insane amount. Like, his pass block grade, it was probably less than 50 his first couple games. But then over time, they're probably above 80. But just the fact that those first couple games skew his data made him a little lower than most people would suspect. But yeah, I'm not going to go over every single player. Maybe I'll do that for another video. Derek Brown is a huge player for us. He was nasty last year. Coverage grade is 50. I love how they put D tackles in coverage grade. Maybe he dropped in coverage last year when Snow was doing some weird plays, but he's just nasty for us, guys. An 84 defense grade is nasty. All right, that's better than Brian Burns. Burns is very good at pass rushing. He had a really good coverage grade. He's actually really good when Phil Snow was dropping him in coverage. Granted, when you drop him in coverage, the Panthers have 0 pass rush. So, yeah, he could cover a guy, but who cares? Because the other guy's going to be open by the time. Like, there's no pass rush. Unless you're sending Frankie Louver or something like that. One thing about Brian Burns is his run defense grade is just not that good. You know what I mean, guys? It's just not that good. Not impressed. If you look at it at his run defense efficiency, it's just not that good. And he's a fast guy. He gets the quarterback insanely quickly. He uses speed to power and his speed pass rush really well, but That means he gets blown off his blocks sometimes. He has a tough time setting the edge sometimes. But I was actually pretty surprised for his run edge grade, though at the same time, our defense was just in a bad situation last year, let's be honest. And then these are some of the offseason moves we made last year. I'm kind of upset we let go of Donta Foreman. I thought he was really cheap and really efficient for us last year. But at the same time, there were a lot of plays he made last year where he would get tackled at the 30-yard after a 30-yard gain, where I think Miles Sanders would have made it like an 80-yard gain or a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, he got caught from behind a lot. But we'll see this year how it works. I'm hopeful. Miles Sanders is a little younger than he is by 1 year. And, you know, he's overall had a better career, I would say. He's more dynamic in the pass catching game, which is huge. Donta Foreman was not a pass catcher whatsoever. He was kind of your typical, you know, late 2000s running back. While Miles Sanders offers that versatility in the modern offense that we need, and especially with Bryce Young, I think we'll be able to get him the ball and just make things happen. But that's it, guys. That's it. Inbound Panthers out. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please like the video. Comment something about the team that you're looking forward to this year. Maybe it's Hayden Hurst. Who do you think is going to score the most receptions or receiving touchdowns next year? That's something I'm kind of watching out for. Who's going to be that top flight receivers? We have a mixed bag of receivers right now, and we're trying to decide which one's going to be that guy. For me, personally, if everything goes correct, meaning no injuries. All right, I'm just going to take injuries out of the equation. I think DJ Chark, if he doesn't get injured, will be our top scoring receiver and just our top receiver in general. I think he's being slept on a lot. He was really solid for the Lions. He was actually pretty good. He did a number on us when we played against him last year. And he's really good, honestly. He's not like tier 1 or anything, but like he's a good receiver who just catches that injury bug, right? So if he can really do it with his prove-it year and that 1-year contract he's on, I think we can be a very, very, very dangerous team. But that's it. See you guys.